Okay, hello everybody. Nice to see all you here. It was more people than I expected, so really great to see you here. And today's topic is about boosting performance with AWS Serverless, and we just had the parliamentary elections in Finland, so let's dive more into this one. And my name is Harri. I'm from Tampere. It's a couple of hours from Helsinki. I went there to study in university back in 2000 and loved Tampere at first sight. It felt like going home, and got my first development job there in 2003. Same year our firstborn was born, so that was a thing that finally tied us with Tampere. And I went to 3 different companies, and from the last company we founded some really good people and started doing our own software business starting from 2008. We first founded a company called Leonidas. During those times, UX and agile methods were really the thing, and that was what we were doing at the time. During the Leonidas last years, we did some XR, and we had like one of the biggest XR teams in Finland. And then we joined forces with Wake One, and everything started really smoothly. But then COVID-19 came and stopped all the exhibitions, and our XR market went down the drain. So about a year and a half ago, we started rethinking that, okay, we need to focus again and let's start a company that focuses on software development and AWS. So now we have a company called Sirit, which comes from Circle of Trust and IT. So that's the base of our name. I think in Turkish it also means this game where you throw javelin against some other person on a horse. Yeah. And well, there's also a picture of my colleague Kari Peltola. We've been doing business with Kari for 15 years, and we decided that this year we're going to go climb Mount Kilimanjaro. So this is what we do for training. We go to beautiful Pyynikki scenery in Tampere, have our packs with 12 kilos of weight and climb up and down. So that's what we're up to later this year. Sirit in a couple of words, we are AWS Select Hire partner. We hire nice and competent people who like to develop software, and we also play a lot of duck game. So we have offices in Tampere and Helsinki, and this is now nice that we can play online. It's also good, like if somebody is working from home, that we can also still play at the office and comfort from our houses. So this is something that connects our people quite a lot. Okay, and our client for this today's election app is MTV. And if you're from Finland, you might know MTV as not the music television, but the other company. And they do have a lot of free TV channels, TV streams also nowadays. And I still remember, because when I was a young kid, like 5 years or 7 years old, we only had 2 TV channels in Finland. And then MTV started channel number 3, and they had like Batman and Masters of the Universe and all this kind of thing. So I was living in an area that didn't have MTV. So my cousin in Helsinki recorded me My Little Ponies and so on and sent the VHS tape for me. So I got to watch MTV. So this meant a lot to me that we got MTV's project. And I've been now doing 3 elections with MTV. So this is really like my personal project that I really like a lot. And the background of the project is that when we were still a company called Wake One, MTV ordered this application from Wake One, and we did it 2 times, and now the 3rd time we got it to Sirit. So this presentation is about these latest elections. Okay, so we don't get to say who wins the elections and so on. We just report the vote counting. So this is the app that you can see on MTV's website. We have a search where you can put your candidate name or your party name, election area, and it will open individual pages for detailed information. And then you will also see this kind of whole country statistics, that which parties are leading the election and who has gotten the most votes. So this is our app, and it's embedded to mtvuutiset.fi site. And here are some graphs from the election day that in Finland we publish the votes at 8 p.m. when the voting places are shut, and also 10 p.m. when the traditional 10 o'clock news comes alive. So we can see here that, okay, not that much of traffic here, but okay, 6,000K, 6K. And 8 p.m., everybody's interested that who is leading the election at that point. Then you get a small drop, and again, 10 o'clock news, it kind of, you get the television also, like the audience from the television to the website. So those are the peaks. And also, like during 10 o'clock news, we deliver almost 200 gigabytes of data, mostly text and candidate photos, so quite a lot. And we've been told in every turn that mobile first, and this is really a mobile first. So it's good for the UX design to also think of everything based on the mobile users rather than desktop users. Okay, so boosting performance. Before that, I want to tell something about the election data itself. And in Finland, we have this Ministry of Justice, which makes this data publicly available, but it only comes after the election. And if you are a media company and have a contract with them, you will get this during the vote counting already. And what we see here is areas separated into folders. You can pick your area and get the data from there, or you can take this. There are 3 separate files. There's XML, CSV, but if you pick CSV, you will have 3 files with all the countries' information divided into every area. And basically 3 kinds of data. You will have the candidates, areas, and political parties and constituency associations. And they are also, the files are named like AEA, AAA, APA. So it's kind of engineering stuff that you will recognize different files from each other. The candidate file contains 45 data fields. You will get the basic information like name, age, and so on. And also like the previous political positions and comparative election data. And also the political parties, there's 53 data fields. And you will get party codes. I was amazed how many codes one party can have, because times change, these parties go together or separate, and you will have like some codes that last from election to election. And all the names and abbreviations of the parties are in 3 languages, and also the comparative election data. But then I'd like to think this as the main beef, the area code, area file. This is like the monster file among others. It has 114 data fields, and you will get a lot of area codes and types. And depending on the election, Finland is divided into these areas. And these areas still, depending on the election, they will have some type, which is usually some letter or an asterisk. And this is sometimes confusing that this might mean the whole Finland, this might mean whole Finland, and this might mean whole Finland. But you have to know in which context you are using that. And you will also get information that how many voters in one area, what are the genders of the voters. And these CSV files, when they are uncompressed, it's like 350 megabytes over 1 million lines. So it doesn't open in Excel. So you have to first make some magic just to get into the content. Okay, we have different types of elections, and these election types run into data, and you can think of it as a key in some points, and also the area and party codes are also that you use to put data together from those three files. And as the time goes by, like time before the election, during the vote counting, and after the vote counting, you will have different type of votes. Those which are given in advance, it's a 2-week period, a couple of weeks before the election day, and then the election day, those votes. These are usually counted before, or they will. You will get the full information about advance voting in the first couple of hours, and this will usually take 5 to 6 hours. And during this election day, you will get new data every 5 minutes, like how the vote counting is going on and how many votes per candidate and so on. And after the election day, it usually takes a couple of days, and you will get this kind of recount data that everything is double-checked and final. So to summarize all this is that it's a good thing that the elections usually have the same data format. We've now seen 3 different elections, and every time we have changes to database and functions. So it's really good that at least the data format stays quite the same. And when we do the app, our job is to filter the data, put it together, connect it with parties and candidates. We don't need to do any calculations like they will provide all the percentages and number of votes and so on. So this is because it could be quite easy to mix in your own calculations. So it's a good thing. There are a lot of pre-calculated values. Yeah, data fields, they vary by time. At some point, this data field might be empty, and on the second time, it might have some value. And I think I've slept a couple of nights with the PDF telling what the data means, and it's really about reading the manual to understand the data. Okay, so what to do with the data? So we have that election results app, and MTV uses that on the website. They also have one on the TV side, but it's a totally different with different requirements. And like said, that they have a contract with the data provider, the Ministry of Justice, so they will get early access to the advanced voting results, and we are not allowed to publish them until 8 p.m. And we also get the updates every 5 minutes. So this is the landscape where we are working. And polling for the new data. 3 elections, and every time we have had a different type of technical transfer for the data files. So this year we did this polling with event bridge rule, and it launches this polling lambda every 1 minute, and it checks on the SFTP server that do we have new files. And there's a text file on the remote server which contains the information about the folder of the new files. So when that value changes, you know that, okay, now there's new data. We compare that one with our DynamoDB value, and if they are different, we take the 3 files. And this year, it also happened that we only had limited number of connections. We only have 1. So we do the downloading in queue, but it only takes 10 seconds to download these zipped files. We first use SFTP fastget. I was surprised that with Lambda you can store a file to a temp folder, and in that same Lambda we could then read the content of the temp file and put it in the S3. So this was the way which we did this. And once we get the files into S3, the next step is that we process the files. So we go through all the CSVs and store them to database. Once we have the stuff in database, we aggregate the data to a JSON format, and each candidate, each party, each area will have a piece of JSON. So we'll pass that to API gateway, and it has a cache that can store, was it half a gigabyte? So everything goes there, and we have a cache setting for 3 minutes or so. So when we get new data, the cache will update, and we should have new data on the website. Okay, so our initial goal for this election was, let's minimize the time from the CSV file to the web. From that minute or the second we get the files to S3 to the time the visitor on the website sees the data. And what we have known from the previous elections that, okay, polling was something that we had, like first year we did the polling every 5 minutes. But if we did poll now and the files appear 10 seconds later, we missed that window. Then we waited 5 minutes again. The next elections, we got the data files straight to S3, which was a good thing. But again, there were some changes, and this year we went to this SFTP thing. And then we knew that our processing takes 2 to 3 minutes when we get the files to Aurora Postgres. And when we do the data to JSON functions inside the Aurora, it also took 2 to 3 minutes. And when you start updating the cache, it'll take another 5 to 10 minutes. So to put this all together, you get new data every 5 minutes, but it takes 9 to 16 minutes to get on the web page. So that was something that we tried to get better in this project. Okay, the first thing that we had learned in the previous elections that you can scale Aurora, but when you're under heavy load, it doesn't scale that fast. So like in the first elections we had, there's 2 values, like maximum value and minimum value. And even though the maximum limit is not in use, it takes time to scale to that number. So now what we now did that 384 is the maximum number, and we put the minimum and the maximum value to that number 1 hour before the votes came in. So this was a good move to do, and it cost about 120 euros. So it's still kind of cheap in this context. But this was something that was a game changer in this time. And second one is the event-driven architecture. That in the previous projects we had serverless. We did a lot of YAML, and this time we separated the lambdas that are getting the data files and storing that to database. And we wrote that part with CDK. And with CDK, you get the rules and the permissions magic that you only create a table, create a lambda, then say that this table grants read access to that lambda. And you don't have to take care of any permission thing after that. So that was a good thing. And also in same CDK, you write the rules that, okay, let's poll every 1 minute that SFTP lambda. And that worked really well. And it also opened up that kind of chance that we could simulate the elections many times, because this data provider, they usually organize a couple of these kind of trainings that they will publish data every 5 minutes, and that's on a specific date, on a specific time, and you have to be ready. And it happened 2 times that our app wasn't that ready that we could participate and test thoroughly that is everything going okay. But with CDK, we did this simulation stack. We knew that, okay, we have a folder, was it 15 folders with that data, and we kind of simulated that, okay, now let's start from the first folder, and every 5 minutes, let's use that lambda that polls a different folder. And that way we could simulate the elections like 10 to 20 times and, get everything ready for the election day. So this was, we could say that, okay, we have now more confidence in the events, launching the right lambdas and data to be processed in a timely manner. Okay, this is not totally about serverless, but we also had a good look at our database processing. We had 2,000 lines of SQL, and what those functions did was that they aggregated that data to JSON, and when we had this simulation possibility, we could see which parts were taking too much time, and we were able to reduce that SQL code to 1,700 lines, and from 2 to 3 minutes we went to 11 to 14 seconds. So that was kind of big boost. But without the ability to simulate the elections, that might not be possible. Okay, then other thing that when the clock strikes 8 on vote day, every media house is trying to get their information out there on the first second possible. So we knew before elections that it's going to be 3 to 4 minutes, and I'd say that, okay, in 3 minutes we will be online, but we managed to get all the stuff out in 4 minutes. So still something for next year. But there are a lot of pages in this app. This year there was like 2,400 candidates, so it was like 2,500 pages, and in 30 seconds we had like most of the data already there. But it's a shame that the front page of the app, it's the page that refreshes last. So it was kind of bummer, but let's see what we can figure out next time with that one. So the manual actions at 8 p.m. was that I was with my son in Tampere. We had this developer support, and he was looking at the clock and counted backwards from 10 seconds until 8 p.m. And when we had 8 p.m. on the clock, I pressed the button that the database script went running. It took about 14 seconds. Then manually flushing API gateway cache and invalidating CloudFront cache, and then the magic started happening. And it was funny thing that it was like 10 minutes before 8. I was looking at the logs, and I was like, oh my God, we have a bug in our code. And you know the feeling when your heart rate goes to 180 and you don't know what to do. It's like blank. And I kept staring at the screen and talking aloud what I was thinking. And 5 minutes later, I noticed that, okay, there's no bug. The data files are just late. And you know, like from 180 to back to 100 and then pressing the button, and after 8 o'clock, you know, it was all sunshine, but we had our moments there. Yeah, some lessons learned and next steps. CloudWatch, well, I forgot to say that in my career, first 10 years I was developing. Those last 10 years I've been mostly selling and recruiting and handling projects. So with this I was back at coding with AWS, and CloudWatch was really valuable tool, and especially these log insights, because when you have tons of logs, and we knew that the voting day developer support, you have to have precise things there that you can say that, okay, we are running good. So log insights was good, that I usually have 1 or 2 lines from every Lambda that, yes, we can see that the Lambdas are going in the correct order and so on. So this was a good tool. And okay, that big candidate CSV file, it still takes a lot of time to process that one with the technology we have at the moment. And well, maybe next time we'll divide that CSV file into smaller chunks and run parallel processing, or we might use Glue or these other ETL systems. But let's see. And also this casting is something still that is quite a mystery, that even though you press the flush to cast button and invalidate, but it still takes a lot of time, and I don't actually know where all the flushing and invalidation happens, but we need to be more precise there to when next time we release the advanced votes, they would be like 1 second after 8 o'clock. That would be really good. Okay, and of course, I'm not that political person, but with these elections, I've noticed that we do have a lot of elections, and also when been doing this technical stuff now, that presidential elections seems like a picnic. You will have like one country voting for maybe 10 people. You might have a second round and then it's over. European elections, that's like what we have done already in the past. And this is something really horrible that I'm not that fond of. They will have county and municipal elections on the same day. So everything we have done, we have to double. We have to have 2 apps. We have to have 2 teams. We have to have everything double. So looking forward 2025. But yeah, that was my rant about the elections, and thank you.